Welcome back to Hot Rod Garage. We're here with our 500 horsepower 1979 Chevy Malibu. We're calling the Malibu.
That's a good one.
I like it.
Who came up with that?
Fan submission. Thank you for that. What we're gonna do in this episode is complete turning this thing into the ultimate getaway car. Now we threw in the 500 horsepower LS motor from our 2JZ versus Cummins versus LS shootout episode, along with a TKO 600 5-speed. This thing makes a bunch of good power. It's fun to drive, but obviously the suspension is way too soft for a getaway car. And the 7.5-inch 10-bolt rear end is going to explode if we put any actual tire on this thing.
I think I just broke it now.
Yeah, you can hear it. It's got a ton of play. It's clanking all over the place. The car drives like this at slow speeds.
That was pretty fun.
Needs an upgrade.
Yeah, needs something.
All right, I've got lots of stuff over here.
Good.
So what the first thing we're gonna do is upgrade to this pretty gnarly Curry bolt-in 9-inch rear end. Now back in the day, if you got a G-body, the hot upgrade was to get a 8.5-inch 10-bolt out of a Grand National, and I think they came in the Monte Carlo SS's as well.
Correct, yep.
But those are really hard to find these days. I've seen them upwards of $1,500 bucks, and if you're gonna spend that kind of money, you're better off getting something like this. This is actually based on their crate rear end, so you can spec it out however you want. I've got this thing set up with a Detroit True Track and 389 gear third member. And just because we want to keep it pretty simple and somewhat stock appearing, we're going to run Explorer 11 3/4-inch brakes. Nothing too crazy. But then we're going to add a handbrake with its own separate caliper. So there's that. Lucky's going to gasket cinch that gasket down.
Actually, I'm going to silicone it because we're out of gasket cinch. Do it on this side.
Deal.
Your fingers will get smashed if you do that.
Grab it from the yoke.
Yep.
Got it.
The yoke's on you. Look at that.
How about that?
I'm holding the steel third member up
Proud of you. You're good.
with my. Look, I was actually just leaning it, but. The funny thing is, it feels just like it's shearing off.
There she is. Stop doing it.
Stop there.
Remember, ultimate getaway car. We got 389 gears in here. They'll give us good acceleration, but it'll still let us have some pretty gnarly top speed. Normally you would install this with metal lock nuts, but since we're gonna have to take it all apart again, we're just using regular nuts because the metal lock nuts you want to use once or twice, then they're kind of dead. We know that the Explorer caliper is gonna sit here. I got some weld-on caliper mounts, and we will mount a set of GM calipers over this rotor as well. So this is a really simple caliper because the mounts basically sit right on the slider, so all you need are these two posts to hold the whole thing up. So it looks like, to stay out of the way of the e-brake cable, the other caliper, I'll get on the plasma cutter and trim this down.
As usual here on Hot Rod Garage, we're gonna take an absolutely beautiful differential housing that we got from Curry and cut the shock mounts off and flip them over and put them on the other side and see if they work better. We decided to put the factory brake calipers, the ones that are actually gonna stop the car, to the rear of the housing so that we can put the drift brake calipers in the front of the housing. When we move the factory calipers to the rear of the housing, they're gonna interfere with the shock. So we're gonna cut just the mount of the shock out of the housing and switch them on either side, which will move the shocks in just a little bit. I ground them. They look like they're gonna fit okay. We're just gonna tack them in for right now. Once we install it in the car and make sure the geometry is all correct and the shocks aren't rubbing into anything else, then we'll weld them in for good. This is a perfectly good tire yesterday. Get the Kevlar. So right now I'm gonna lower the rear differential and we're gonna remove the springs. Springs coming out.
Dead spring walking.
Okay, those are unhooked. Shock's out.
The old rear end is out. We're gonna load this thing up with the new QA1 control arms. We've got a full QA1 suspension system for this thing. And since we told these guys that this thing needs to be ready for anything, including a little airtime, they give us some tips and tricks of a couple extra components we're gonna add.
So what we're installing right now is a QA1 upper control arm.
All right, new control arms going in.
Charles in charge. It's going down up in here, Tony.
Yeah.
Keep going, dude. What are you doing?
Well, you're gonna wanna swing those lower arms in.
Take her down.
All right.
Stop.
Great, now put the lower arms on.
No, I'm doing the upper ones.
Cheater.
I'm in. So we just slapped the rear end in. We stuck the bolts through just to have it hanging from the lower control arms and one upper control arm so we could lift it and you could enjoy the show. You want to push this under? It looks pretty badass, really.
QA1 sent us a bracket to use for stock rear ends, but we don't need it. We kind of tweaked everything in the right direction for us. We should be good. So we're happy with that. Welded it in for good. Hit it with a little paint, call it a day.
Paint it black, put it back. Ready?
Cool.
There you go.
So here's where our Malibu gets extra awesome. We put a pretty straightforward suspension setup on this thing, but we've got these gnarly bump stops. See, I told the guys at QA1, listen, I want to get wild with this car. I want to do all sorts of shenanigans. I want to slide it around. I want to jump it off stuff. And they were like, we get it. That's awesome. Can you do us a favor? Find some proper bump stops, put them on there, and some limiting straps. So I went out. Daystar makes these adjustable canister bump stops that have about 2 inches of travel. I think we paid like $250 for all this stuff.
For everything.
For everything, and you can get gnarly nitrogen, bump stops for trophy trucks, but they're like $1,000 a piece.
I touched one of those once.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing here. So we bought these. TMR Customs makes these sleeves that will basically weld into the car. We'll be able to adjust the height of the bump stops, get it dialed in just right. And what you do is take the different densities of foam you want, put them inside this canister, and let them get smashed as the car goes up.
Bump stops.
Bumped up.
I still go for 2 gussets off the frame and leave this just the way it is and butt that thing right to the bottom.
Butt it up and go. Pretty happy with the way this collar fits. I'm basically gonna just tack it into the frame and build a couple gussets, but the height and everything seems like it's gonna work fine. And what's nice is because these sleeves clamp on everything, you can move it however you want, clamp it down, it's super adjustable. We'll definitely be able to get it dialed in. Got the left side bump stop holder in place, tacked in, and it seems to work fine. Lucky's gonna do the right side while I finish up welding that one in.
What?
High five.
Was that battery? Was that just battery right there?
Okay, so now we have our bump stops mounted in the back. We're happy with those, and those will protect the shocks under full compression or when we land this thing. But they told us at QA1 to also try to protect these things under full extension or when we kind of launch this thing. And for that, we've got these limiting straps. These, again, kind of like off-road buggies. They will take the impact of the shock fully extending because internally there's a little bumper in there and stuff, but that'll get all banged up if you basically jump a shock over and over. So use these instead. These sway bar brackets on the control arm give us a nice mounting point, and then we're just gonna weld a stud into the frame. Should line up really well, so that's the plan. Okay, so we have the back end of our Malibu all dialed. We've got that Curry 9-inch bolted in, every QA1 arm known to man with coilover shocks and springs, and then we went ahead and did that rad bump stop limiting strap setup so we can jump this thing. Now we're onto the front, and that means similar treatment, QA1 beefy sway bar, QA1 tubular control arms, coilover shocks and springs, and then we will tube the front end a little bit, which will give us space to put those big gnarly bump stops and also mount our limiting straps.
So India gets a roll cage, but I gotta hug you if we flip over. Yeah. Cool with that. You're a handsome man.
We'll go down together.
All right.
There it is.
So I just got done throwing on that QA1 shock, and we, while I had this thing apart, we cleaned up these spindles, or knuckles as the Tony people call them, and packed up those wheel bearings. Going to put this together, and pretty soon this thing is going to be a roller. And by roller, I mean roller, like roll over roller.
So the front suspension is now bolted in for good with all the components totally installed. I'm taking out all the old steering junk because we're going to replace it with all new stuff, as well as a quick ratio steering box. First time we took this thing out, we tried to put power steering on it, and where the stock pump sits was interfering with the gearbox, so we went out to Holly. They sent us out a cool new accessory drive. We're going to put that on now, and it should work and give this thing power steering.
You know, Holly's got accessory drives just to make up something, and they got it. I'm going to put this on this over here. We got you.
Totally. They've got an RV with a Viper V10. They're like,
We got a breakfast.
we got it. We got that. You might be there.
Oh, we're there.
So we've got that Holly accessory drive bolted in, and now it's time to give the front end the same treatment as the rear. That means adding those trophy truck bump stops and limiting straps so that this thing is ready for anything.
So we're going to just drive it around very conservatively.
Totally.
Just
You can get gas,
deliver newspapers.
go to the grocery store.
Nice.
Sure, you pick the easy side. What we're looking to do is mount those trophy truck style bump stops. And what we're going to do is make a span of 1 3/4 inch tubing from the frame rail over the top of the control arm and then back down to the frame rail. Now on the driver's side, because of the brake booster and the clutch master and the steering linkage, it's pretty tight. And we're looking at this all different angles because there's just not enough room. So no matter which way we wind up doing it, it's going to be a super precision fit with this bent tube. That is now between the clutch master, the brake master, and the steering column.
The only thing that's sort of a pain is we have to take into consideration the size of the tire, the travel of the tire, the steering of the tire, the travel of the upper control arm, the alignment to locate the bump.
And this is a tough car because it doesn't really have a straight firewall, or we would tie it from the front of the frame, go over the top of the control arm and tie it in here. It's all plastic over there, and this has got a million bends in it, so that's not going to work either. So when you're doing this stuff, you want to like look at it a few times and then bend it, because once it's bent,
Really hard to unbend.
it's really hard to unbend these.
So you're thinking 55?
Yeah, go, keep going. Let's see what it do.
See what it do. Oh, look at that, dude.
Yeah, just gotta cut it. Okay, so we're not gonna just weld these tubes directly into the frame. We need a little bit more metal for that. So I trace the frame. I'm gonna cut out 1/8 inch thick base plates, weld those in, and then we'll weld a tube to those. I'm just gonna tack this guy into place. Flat on there, but that looks pretty awesome. All right, so I'm gonna,
I vote for just
because we had discussed notching this tube and then welding this sleeve into it, but I like these mounts.
Yeah.
So that means I can weld that plate in, weld this tube in for good.
Correct.
So these little tube disconnects are usually used on like a straight door bar, and you can use them on a curved bar, but you have to remember to line them up in a way that they stay in the same plane when you're taking them on and off. Now that means for us, if we were to line them up so that the bolts were going up and down, this bar would never come out because they fit in and interlock so tightly, we'd never be able to pull them out. But if you spin them both to the front, we'll be able to pull this thing straight forward. It should come out.
Are you just about at the pipe? We can tack it all right now, except for not to the hoops.
Exactly.
Weld it on the bench.
That's what I think
we got the length and everything figured out. All right, so do something, dude.
What?
Do something.
Okay.
Ooh. Woo! There's a hot spot right there.
Yeah, right in the middle. Now it's time to install our ASD hydraulic handbrake. This is going to work that second set of calipers that we welded onto the rear end. And I've got it just about where I want it. Usually put it somewhere between the steering wheel and the shifter at similar height, a little bit higher than the shifter, so that's just about right. And what I'm going to do is make a couple of mounting brackets, weld them into the tunnel and bolt this thing in. So I made a little base bracket for our handbrake. I'm going to weld that into the car. Before I do that, I'm going to disconnect the Holley engine computer. If I don't do that, there's a potential to damage this from all the voltage going through the chassis of the car. If you're doing it on a stock car, you can remove the negative terminal of your battery, and that should do the same thing, but it's right here, so I'm just going to disconnect it. Let's see if you use that. Looks awesome, man. It's perfect. It's perfect position. Just, I'm gonna tweak the shifter so that basically my neutral is about here, maybe first gear is here. But that's all sitting in here. So our Malibu is finally ready for some action, and it's time to see if we really did build the ultimate getaway car. We've got something rad coming up, so sit back and enjoy. I'm a wheelman. I'm not a thief. There's a difference. 5,000 bucks gets you 3 minutes of my time and my car. As long as you get back to the car within that 3 minutes, I will get you to freedom.
Gray Eagle, come in. Do you copy? We lost him. We need you, man, on the double.
Geez, how many times have I told you not to call me that? Copy that here, farmer. I got this.
That's it for this episode of Hot Rod Garage. We had an awesome time with this shoot. The car is still in one piece. This is post-jump and it still works. We built an awesome getaway car. Thanks to everyone that was involved in our stunt shoot. Directors, shooters, stunt guys, cast.
Stunt guys, ramp manufacturers.
Yeah, everybody. It was awesome. We had a great time with this one.
Yeah, it was hot out there, but fortunately enough, there was air. See what I did there?
I see what you did. Nice. Nice. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Between episodes, I'm Tangelo96 on Instagram.
I am the law.
He's Mobile Tech Lucky. The show is Hot Rod Garage Show on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you next time.
I'm still not getting in the car with you.
That's fine. Replacement parts in this episode provided by RockAuto.com.